Western Australia. A land of staggering size, it dominates the western third of the Australian continent. Imagine a territory so vast it could comfortably swallow France, Germany, Spain, Italy, and the British Isles combined, with room to spare. Yet for all its immensity, this colossal state holds a surprisingly small population. Drive for hours, even days across its expanse, and the sheer emptiness can be overwhelming. The endless horizons painted in shades of red earth and blue sky whisper tales of a land that has long resisted the embrace of large-scale human settlement. This stark contrast between size and population density begs the question, why is Western Australia a land of such immense scale home to so few? The answer, like the landscape itself, is complex and multifaceted, shaped by a confluence of geographical, historical, economic, and cultural forces. Let's explore these factors, peeling back the layers of this enigmatic land to understand the roots of its sparse population. At the heart of Western Australia's sparse population lies a simple but undeniable truth. It's a harsh land. Much of the state is a sweltering desert, baked by the relentless Australian sun. Temperatures soar during the summer months, turning the red earth into a furnace and pushing the limits of human endurance. Water, the lifeblood of any civilization, is a precious commodity in this parched land. Rivers are few and far between, and rainfall is erratic, often arriving in torrential downpours that quickly evaporate under the scorching sun. These arid conditions, while breathtaking in their stark beauty, pose significant challenges to human habitation. Farming, the backbone of many societies, becomes a precarious endeavor. Livestock grazing is limited by the scarcity of pasture land, and crops struggle to survive without reliable irrigation. The harsh climate acts as a natural barrier to large-scale settlement, reminding those who dare to call this land home that survival here is a constant battle against the elements. Distance is more than just a measure of miles in Western Australia. It's a defining characteristic, a constant companion to those who inhabit its vast expanse. Perth, the state capital and by far its largest city, sits perched on the western edge of the continent, geographically closer to Jakarta than to Sydney. This isolation has had a profound impact on the state's development and population distribution. For much of its history, Western Australia has existed on the periphery, a distant outpost cut off from the major population centers on the eastern seaboard. The tyranny of distance made travel and communication difficult and expensive, hindering trade, investment, and the flow of people. Even today, in an age of air travel and instant communication, the isolation of Western Australia continues to shape its identity. The state has developed a strong sense of self-reliance, a frontier spirit born from the necessity of fending for itself. This isolation, while fostering a unique culture, has also contributed to the state's sparse population. The allure of bustling cities and greater opportunities in the east has drawn many away, leaving Western Australia to grapple with the challenges of attracting and retaining residents in its remote corner of the world. The story of Western Australia's settlement is not one of steady growth and expansion, but rather a tale of fits and starts, marked by periods of boom and bust. Early European explorers, lured by the promise of new lands, found little to entice them in this harsh and unforgiving environment. The first British settlement, established in 1826, struggled to survive in the face of limited resources and hostile relations with the indigenous population. For many years, Western Australia languished as a penal colony, a dumping ground for convicts shipped from the overcrowded prisons of Britain. These early settlers, often hardened criminals with little choice in the matter, faced immense hardships in their efforts to tame the wild frontier. The discovery of gold in the late 19th century brought a surge of new arrivals, eager to strike it rich. Gold towns sprung up overnight, fueled by dreams of fortune and adventure. But these booms were often short-lived, and many who flocked to the goldfields found only hardship and disappointment. The legacy of this tumultuous past is etched into the fabric of Western Australian society. The state's population has long been characterized by its transience, with people drawn by opportunity, but often driven away by the harsh realities of life in this demanding land. Section 5. Riches beneath, emptiness above, mining and sparse settlement, iron ore, gold, nickel, natural gas. Western Australia is a land of immense mineral wealth. Its vast reserves of natural resources have fueled economic growth and propelled the state onto the global stage. Yet, this abundance of riches has come at a cost, contributing to the very sparseness of population that defines the Western Australian landscape. The mining industry, while economically vital, is inherently transient and capital-intensive. Mines are often located in remote and inhospitable areas, far from existing population centers. They attract a fly-in, fly-out workforce, with workers flown in for intensive work rotations and then flown back to their homes in Perth or other major cities. This creates a boom and bust cycle in remote communities, with populations swelling and shrinking with the fortunes of the mines. Towns built to service the mining industry often lack the amenities and social infrastructure needed to attract permanent residents. Families are reluctant to put down roots in communities with limited educational opportunities, healthcare facilities, and cultural offerings. The result is a landscape dotted with isolated mining outposts, islands of human activity in a sea of emptiness, contributing to Western Australia's unique demographic profile, rich in resources, but sparsely populated. Section 6. Beyond the city limits, infrastructure and the limits of growth. Perth, with its sparkling Swan River and vibrant city life, stands in stark contrast to the vast emptiness that surrounds it. The state capital is home to the lion's share of Western Australia's population. Beyond the city limits, the vast distances and challenging terrain pose significant obstacles to infrastructure development. Building roads, railways, and communication networks across such a vast and sparsely populated area is a costly and logistically complex endeavor. Without adequate infrastructure and services, attracting and retaining residents remains a constant challenge. The result is a self-reinforcing pattern of uneven population distribution, leaving vast swaths of the state sparsely populated. Section 7. Ancient custodians, indigenous lands and population density. Long before European settlers arrived on Australia's shores, the indigenous people of Western Australia had forged a deep and enduring connection with the land. For tens of thousands of years they lived in harmony with the rhythms of the desert, their lives intertwined with the cycles of nature. Today, indigenous land ownership plays a significant role in shaping the population distribution of Western Australia. Large tracts of land are held under native title, recognizing the traditional rights and interests of Indigenous Australians. These lands are often managed for cultural and environmental conservation, with restrictions on development and population growth. While some Indigenous communities welcome visitors and economic opportunities, others prioritize the preservation of their traditional way of life, limiting access to their lands. The recognition of Indigenous land rights is a complex and evolving issue in Australia, with implications for everything from mining and agriculture to tourism and population growth. Understanding the historical and cultural significance of these lands is essential to comprehending the dynamics of population distribution in Western Australia. It's a reminder that the story of this land is not just about numbers on a map, but about people, their history, and their deep connection to the land they call home. Section 8. A giant awakens Western Australia's future on the global stage. Western Australia stands at a crossroads. Its vast reserves of natural resources, particularly iron ore and natural gas, have made it a powerhouse of the global economy. The state's economic output is the envy of many nations, and its strategic importance in the Asia-Pacific region continues to grow. The future hinges on balancing economic growth with environmental sustainability and creating vibrant communities. Western Australia's story is far from over. The chapters to come will be defined by how it manages its resources and embraces its unique cultural heritage.